Well, happy Monday, Sonder Club. Okay, I'm gonna, full honesty here. I'm looking at the numbers in the chat. I think we have some sleepyheads in our regular Monday group because our numbers are a little bit low. We'll see if they pop up for a while. Yeah, this is and Alexandria, I'm so glad that the time change hadn't affected you. That's amazing. This is always the one that feels a little tougher. Maya and I were talking. We vote that we just this was the last time change that we ever have to do. It's silly. And oh, was it bit right having a little issue? Oh, that could be it. Okay. Thank you for letting us know that, Jacqueline. That's important to know. With the link, emails didn't go out. Oh, we might have had a little glitchy. So I'll just hold this slide for a minute and chat it up for just a second while we wait. See if our numbers don't pick up a little bit. Yeah, that time change gets us off. So if daylight savings time, this time change feels a little funny, I found these sleep tips from the Sleep Foundation. And I thought I would just throw the link there or the information there of kind of the biggies that we can observe to sort of reset. That's going to be very important for our success this week, that we are leaning into good rest so that we can get all the things done that we want to get done in our journals this week as we set up for week number 11 of 2024. So, yeah, magnesium. I've started taking magnesium at night, and I think it has helped that sleep quite a bit. So we'll want to make sure, avoiding alcohol. We kind of know that, but sometimes when we're a little high strung, we may go to that. That's not a good one. That consistent sleep routine, even on weekends. And I know that is hard when you work hard all week and then you have to, you want to sleep in on a Saturday or a Sunday. Give yourself a little bonus rest. Spending time outdoors will help reset our circadian rhythm because our brain has that sunlight. We get that fresh air. There's nothing better for us than to spend some time outside, and that'll help that rhythm in our body kind of get reset. Today is National Napping Day. So take a nap, but take it in moderation. Maybe set that alarm for 20 minutes. I actually read one time, take a little hit of caffeine, a little coffee, a little small cup of coffee or something, and go lay down right away. Take a quick 20-minute nap. And then when you wake up, you are refreshed and you've kind of got that hit of caffeine in your blood, and it might help you get going a little bit better. And then finally, don't do it too close to bedtime though. We want to make sure that we cut ourselves off so that we have 6 hours without those things that keep us up. So, okay, so I'm still seeing lots of folks saying they ran to Eventbrite to log in. Maya is joining me this morning. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy, if you're new here, and I'm coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area, a community called Garland. It is cold. It is raining this morning. It was hard to get out of bed. Maya's on the call. Maya is she's probably not even gonna come say hello. She is probably working the Silk and Sonder club so that she can tell folks, go check your original registration confirmation, go through Eventbrite to anyway, I hope I've killed enough time. We'll just go ahead and jump in. We are gonna, I said, I did the setup Saturday morning. I said, it's kind of magical. This weekend is the only time that we get to time travel to the future. It's only by an hour, but we were trying to you know, embrace this newness. And I thank you guys for your patience with Eventbrite and trying to get in to our time together this morning. Yeah, Karen, everybody's saying the same thing, couldn't open those events. So y'all are persevering. I love Sonder Club. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. And Maya dropped that link in our Sonder Club. So hopefully folks will pop over there to say help and they'll see Maya's posting and be able to join us. Maya's doing a fabulous job as my co-pilot this morning to make sure we can get as many Sonder family members here. Here are those community guidelines. If you've not been here before to a setup social, yes, Catherine is saying Eventbrite can be so weird. Sometimes it really can. If you haven't been here before, please drop a me in that chat box so we can give you a big welcome. We are one another's accountability group. We are used to gathering together to set up for a week. Karen is saying she's new. We'd love to welcome you, Karen. Glad you're here. I'm going to be sharing a ton of stuff with you this morning, and just no overwhelm. Just grab screenshots if you see something you want to ruminate over and decide if you want to use that in your journal. You're always welcome to use these pages as they are, but you will find so many examples that I'll share this morning about how folks repurpose some of these sections so that this journal exactly fits what they have going on in their life. So I do always share the community guidelines. These can also be found in your Sonder Club app, where you know, when you first got the app, it's there. So we just want to remind you, we keep this a nice, safe space. We are accountability partners for each other. Maeve is new here too. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Um, our we're gonna get going. We have our mind map to work on week number 2 of March. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection. We're going to do our weekly setup pages. And pardon me, this month of momentum, I was sharing earlier on Saturday. Momentum is a physics term to me. I am not a science girl. I'm more of a book nerd. A lot of literature, that was my jam. So when I think momentum, I think physics and moving fast and forward motion. And I love that we are looking at momentum in our life and maybe redefining that fast forward motion and thinking about what Mayha writes to us in her letter. In that, let's start reflecting on maybe some areas of life that we feel stagnant in, and then think about what will help us move forward. And that doesn't necessarily have to be this fast and furious motion. Momentum is just about moving forward. We might just have to take baby steps. We might have to go at our own pace. So I really liked that that's what she wants us to reflect on, and that has inspired our mind map. So we'll look at that now. If you are new here, one of the bonuses of coming to a weekly setup is our mind maps. We take our monthly theme, we look at that theme through a different lens every week. We do a deeper dig, and it is a bonus prompt. You won't find it in your journal. You only get it by coming here. And we love supporting each other in that chat as we're working through our mind maps. So we have a different question, a different prompt every single week. And we are now in week 2. So if you're new here, like our new friends, Maeve and Karen, grab a screenshot of week 1 if you want to kind of think through this, or week 1 and week 2. So last week we were reflecting on our life and looking at an area where we might feel stuck or we were lacking development. And then we also, it was an exercise in duality. We looked at the things that we are proud of, like where have you seen progress in your life? This week, our question is, are there specific obstacles that hinder forward movement? Okay. And I'm actually going to use my answer from last week to inform my answer this week. What are some tendencies or external factors that might have slowed your development down? So this journal prompt can be done on any page, any space in your journal. I've got some suggestions in a minute, but before we do that, I want you to take a look at these 2 quotes. This first one, what are you throwing away? Oh, just some old ideas and beliefs that were taking up too much space. Love that. And then you do your best and you move forward. The key is to see forward momentum and not beat yourself up about how it could have been. We do a lot of should haves, right? I should have. So we're saying no more shoulding yourself. Move forward. So no, it's not the same as last week's, Fernanda. But I am using kind of my answer from week 1 into into this. So there's the two prompts for this. And then I set my mind map up on my very last page of the journal so that it's easy to find. That's a pro tip from facilitator Bailey. I love that. I know exactly where it is, but this can be done anywhere. I gave you lots of examples there. And week 1, I talked about my lack of, the thing that stands kind of in my way. I just haven't really embraced a consistent health routine as far as nutrition and rest and sleep, sleep and exercise. So that's kind of what I'm kind of taking that idea and using it to maybe inform this week's answer about the obstacles that hinder that forward movement in that area. Now you can do anything, any place in your life. But, we're early retirees. My husband has started taking over some of the cooking, and I use that as one of my obstacles because honestly, I've just been eating what he cooks and we appreciate food in a different way. And so, like, I can't eat the way he eats and then expect to feel healthy. I it doesn't work for me. And so, it's left me not being mindful, and also I have this lack of rigid routines and rhythms in my life since I'm not working and my days are not, packed. And so I find I kind of delay things and I think I can get to it later and then I just don't. And so those are some things I feel like I'm squandering time. This prompt is not about fixing it, putting plans into place. This prompt is about just identifying those obstacles. And then when I was talking this through with Maya on Saturday, I realized also I don't have those accountability people in my life. Like here, we set this thing up, right? Our journal, because we're here together. But like at work, when I was packing my lunch into work. So I was very accountable for fixing my lunch and having it ready to go and maybe eating with very like-minded people, women who were going through kind of the same thing I was going through. Just the accountability of a friend waiting for you at your Zumba class or whatever. And so I don't have that system in place either. So those are a couple of obstacles that have been brought to mind. And again, we're just identifying obstacles this morning. So let me stop talking. You guys start working on this and you can feel free to share in the chat. And I'll be back to check on you in just a few minutes. All right, so I'm seeing lots of you saying that that support system in some way is something that would help you. So I love that. Oh, and Amy had a big breakthrough. She says, writing the prompt, which is why we do that. She realized what's holding her back is lack of respect for my future self. Man, if we frame that future self, that how do we be kind to that person? So again, I cut you off just a minute earlier because I want to make up some time for the front end of this. So feel free to kind of let this bump around in your head as you think about this throughout the week. And we are going to, this is, the questions we have this month are will kind of build upon one another as we travel through momentum and what that looks like in our life. Thank you for working on that, for maybe looking at those obstacles, right? And there's always going to be obstacles. The I don't think we'll ever escape that, right? We're always going to be striving to something else. That's the point of living, of trying to be the best version of ourselves. So it's just having that awareness and being open to, what do I need to do to change and move forward to make a better me? So now let's turn to page 36 and take a look at those roses and buds and thorns from our week last week. For our new friends, this is something we always do at a weekly setup. And we look at those wonderful things that happened during the week. During the previous week, the things that we found joy in or that made us feel accomplished, happy, those are our roses. And the buds are things that are maybe kind of starting to bubble up. Think about lots of times my bud is simply, it's a new week, new opportunities. But the things that are kind of helping push you forward and giving you momentum. And then the thorns are exactly that, they're thorns. What did you have an area of a lot of stress or a challenge that felt really big or heavy? Sometimes these are permanent thorns. You're dealing with health issues or you're caring for someone with health issues and that they're going to be there all the time. And then sometimes they're just little hiccups. They don't, it's just this didn't go my way and I don't like it very much. My thorn last week, I took my sewing machine in. I love to do that. They couldn't fix it. I got to find another place and I'm just kind of bummed about that because I spent a lot of time behind my sewing machine. I've got birthday gift coming up for my little grand girl, and I just was bummed. My bud is that this week we're going to take our oldest grandson, who's 6, all by himself. We have a family cabin, and he gets to come with his Jimbo and JoJo for an alone trip. And so we're really excited about that. And then my rose was I shared last week. I've had some weirdo mammogram and lots of follow-ups for several years, and this one was my first clean screening in years, and I was waiting on that. So that was my thorn last week. It's my rose this week. So, oh, thanks, Chris, my Jimbo and JoJo. Yeah, that's our grandparents' name. So, anyway, let's take a moment to work on your rosebud thorn. Share in the chat. We want to celebrate with you, and we also want to hold space with you for the tougher things. I'll be back to check in with you in just a moment. All right. Thank you so much for allowing us to help carry those burdens that you have, but also allowing us to celebrate your roses and your thorns. And, just embracing those buds and the newness that is in all of our paths. So let's go ahead and dive into our weekly planner. You will find this week on pages 40 and 41. And we are going to start off by taking a look at all some different ways you can repurpose your journal. Now, this is not an exclusive list, or it's not all encompassing. There's a lot of other things you can do, but I always like to just throw these ideas on there for anybody who's brand new or for anyone who is thinking, wonder if I could repurpose this section because I'm not using it as much as I'd like. And so maybe an idea will from this list will inspire you, so you could grab a screenshot of that if that's something that is speaking to you. And I'm also going to share a ton of actual physical examples from people's journals that will also be helpful. Let's look at how we want to feel this week. We want to embrace a word. Doesn't have to be new every week. My word last week was consistent, because I'm really trying to lean into the momentum that comes with consistency in that health journey. And so I'm using consistent again. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. That word worked for me, and then under it, I just am asking myself the question, what would a healthy person do? And that's helping me make my choices. So that's mine. Oh, Elena says she wants to be hopeful this week. Feel free to just drop that in the chat. You can do lots of words. You can do one word. You can use a sticker here that inspires you, a quote. Um, Maybe there was a affirmation from last week that you're like, "Ooh, I'm gonna grab that affirmation, and that's gonna be how I wanna feel this week." I'm seeing creative, soulless, proud, productive, another hopeful. We wanna feel joyful this week. Do you have a focus that you want to look on? Like when Oh, Alana. Thank you, Alana. Okay, I'll try to remember that. It's so hard when I don't get to talk back and forth with you. And then Sarah's using kind of this statement, if I'm making make choices my future will appreciate. Awesome. I love framing that out. So Chris is wanting to feel present this week. Feel lucky. Yes, Katrina said lucky. It is a St. Patty's Day week. So that's amazing. So now that we kind of are thinking about how we want to feel, let's look at how that affects our goals. Now we have this space that has space, it says three goals for the week. You don't have to do three. You can do one. You can do more. There's a little bit of science behind why you shouldn't have more than three big goals, just because we want to set ourselves up for success. But again, it's about you doing you. I'm going to show you some examples of how folks set this up, and then also a couple of repurposing if the goals aren't quite calling to you right now. Tony Robbins says the most important thing you can do to achieve your goals is to make sure as soon as you set them, you immediately begin to create momentum. So we write it down. There's power in that. And now we need to figure out how to take action. And then that will give us that feeling that we're seeking this week. So here are some ideas to frame out those goals. If you're sitting there looking at your space and you're like, I don't know where to get started, maybe go take a look at that intention page where you set your overall intentions for the month. Are there some goals you could pull out of those intentions? Of course, do you need momentum in your life in a certain area? And you could set goals there. What a lot of folks like to do is they'll just take three categories and assign a goal to each one of those categories for the week, like mind, body, soul, delete, delegate, delight. And you just take those three categories, you plug in a goal for each one of those. And if you did a word of the year or created a vision board, perhaps that will be inspiring for you. So I've got a lot of examples from our Sonder family for you to see how this area was set up. You can just take a look, the one in the middle, there's the three categories. One is frog, which is doing something you don't want to do, but you need to do. And then fresh, she's going to keep cleaning that bedroom, getting that bedroom freshened up. And then fun, start packing for a vacation. So that's just again, a fun way to frame that out. It makes sense to her. Leap, learn, let go. That's the one over there on the right. Let me show you a bunch, and then I'll put on some music for you guys to work on these sections. Now, I really thought this was kind of a fun one to see. Do you see that one there on the upper left? One thing I must do, two things I want to do, and then three things I'm proud of, kind of a tracker. So the goals there are to think about a must do, couple of things I want to do, and then also a goal of being proud of yourself. That's amazing. Um, so that's an idea. There are some more examples, and I want to point out the one that is at the top left, the self-home productivity. And then if you go over to those to-dos, they've changed that idea of a to-do list to weekly intentions, and those intentions are tied into each one of those goals. The one right below it, same kind of thing, the three focuses, the three goals for the week. Now we've coupled them with some to-dos, and it's been gamified by putting it in the form of a little bingo board to mark off, to give yourself that dopamine hit when it happens. Gamifying is a really great way to reward ourselves for our work. The one over there on the right, a little checkbox for every single day of the week to make sure that they are checking in with those three goals. Now, I mentioned you can repurpose this space. Here's a bunch of ideas for that. Mine is I'm currently trying to get these rhythms down. So I'm not doing goals per se, but I am doing this checklist. And in my major three weekly space, I am putting my good morning routine and a midday check-in. And then I'll show you later, my shopping list has actually been made into my good night list. So I'm really trying to focus on those routines and rhythms in my life. But you can also just put a sticker there if that's what works for you. And then next to this space with our goals are those to-dos. And so lots of folks like to take those goals and tie them into the to-dos. Now, I put my to-dos in my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I do it day by day. But you can see how folks have set the to-do list up, and we like to throw things in to help support that, like the Eisenhower matrix. I always keep this one in there because if your to-do list is super long, this is a great way to take all those items, plug them into an actual quadrant where you are deciding what's important and urgent, all the way down to the things not important and not urgent. And those can be deleted or maybe just delayed, maybe just moved to another time. And then I do want to speak to the delegation part of it because sometimes if you are in a single person household, it's you kind of think, well, how am I going to delete all the things that I have on my plate? But some ideas to that is that we do have support systems built in to our lives that you may not even realize can be a delegation point for you. For example, doing that grocery shopping online and just going and picking it up so that you have given yourself time back while someone else has done that for you, or perhaps a takeout meal where it freed up yourself to get your kitchen clean, keep it clean, and gained you a little bit of time to not mess that up again. So you do a takeout meal. So or you could swap. Maybe you have some skill sets that can be swapped with a friend's skill sets, and you can delegate that way. So we have to be kind of proactive and realize, yeah, there are ways that I can delegate. Some other ideas for setting that up: a mini bingo board for your tasks for the week. I mentioned that I do my to-dos in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday part. So I leave my to-do space here blank and I call it my ta-da space. And I like to just reward myself for those things that I did. Again, get that little dopamine hit from, yay, I did something. And I write that down. And it helps with the fact that I don't have those rhythms and routines to realize I am doing things, I am getting things accomplished. You might want to do a to be list, and you also might want to just create a to don't list. What are you going to not do this week to be good to yourself? Maybe some things to take away. So let me put on a little bit of music. I'll go back through all these slides. If you saw something that spoke to you, grab that screenshot and I'll be back in to see how this part goes. Feel free to share in the chat what you'll be doing this week. righty. So we've got some goals in place in our to-dos, and Julia was asking, she wanted to know what are my those appointments with myself that I put on my to-do list, and I was saying it's kind of like time boxing. And so if one of the things I want to do is go for a walk, I am scheduling that in my calendar with a timed, tied to a specific time. I may set an alarm on my phone. So, like, if I want to go walking at 11 o'clock, my alarm goes off at 11 and I've got my shoe and that's my appointment with myself to make sure that I actually do it. I'm trying to tie it into a time constraint. Just like when I was working, I'd have an 11 o'clock meeting and I knew that's what 11 o'clock was going to look like. So it's just something I'm trying for me. Maybe that will work for, and it's tasks that I have to do, but it's also treats like a walk or, a library appointment where I just don't put go to the library. It's tied to a time so that I can make sure that that is happening. So that's what my appointments with myself are. I kind of take a look at that on a day by day basis and plan out my day, or maybe look ahead, by a day. So now we're going to drop down to that habit and activity tracker. This one I love. We've got the big one at the front of our journal for those things that we want to do most days of the month. But this one can be varied for whatever the week is bringing you. It can be very specific, and it doesn't necessarily need to be something that we plan to do 7 days this week. And I know that there's a lot of folks who will maybe save this space for their work tasks if they work outside of the home, and they have certain things that need to happen in their work life. And so it is, or it's a kid and school focused habit and activity tracker. So you can kind of make this part work for you. Aristotle says we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So that reminder, and there's lots of ways you can set this up. This space can be, you can set a goal for every one of your habits and activities. You want to do it 7 times, 6 times, 3 times. You can circle the specific days that something needs to happen. That's a great visual reminder. Like, oh, on Wednesday and Friday, I have to do carpool duty or whatever. You circle those specific days so that it's jumping out at you. You can just plain track this space. Like you can see that one at the very bottom left. Just there's little color markers there. And when this, whatever the item is, whenever it happens, whatever that habit or activity is, they're just going to mark, yep, it happened. You don't have to fill out every space in this journal. Remember that your blank spaces are also part of your story. You take what you need. So you'll notice the one in the middle on the left, they're going to track 3 things for they have a goal of every day that week. And that's it. That's all they're putting in that tracker, as well as take a look at the top right one. They're not tracking every single day. Maybe they're traveling on the week and they're like, nope, not tracking it this week. This is about making the journal and these tools work for what's going on in your individual life. So I would love to know what you're going to put in this space. You can make it a little fun and just do something 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, like you see that kind of one that's there in the middle, the bottom middle. Do what speaks to you. I'll come back and check in on you in just a moment. Share some of those things that you'll be tracking. It might be like the one on the upper left hand corner there. All of the habit tracker in the weekly lead back to one of the other trackers so that they're making sure they're checking in with themselves. I love that idea. Okay, I'll be back in just a moment. Alrighty, so a couple of things that I want to pull out that were shared in the chat is Alexandra said, I'm reevaluating some habit stacking I did because I noticed, midday, figuring out what didn't work that afternoon routine. And so I love this journal for that reason. Those spaces, those things that didn't happen are part of your story. And when you see it in writing or not seeing it getting checked off, it's a great way for you to step back, try to figure out what are those obstacles standing in your way, and then reevaluate. Do I need to just maybe reframe this idea that I have, this thing I want to do, what do I need to put in place to make that happen? And so when you're looking at it in writing, it's very empowering to know what areas you want to make changes in. Even again, those blank spaces, they're as powerful as the ones that you do check off or the things that you do get done. So thanks for sharing that, Alexandra, so that we could kind of all glean from that. So now we're going to hop over to page 41. And I'm going to go through all these spaces at once because they often get repurposed. And sometimes a lot of folks like to use that meal plan space for something, maybe a journal prompt or tracking something other than meals. And then they just plop their meal plan for their main meal over in another space. So we're going to just take a look at everything together, and then I'm going to give you a good chunk of time to work on this page. So again, another list of ways to repurpose, ways to reframe this to work in your life, and then lots of examples. We do love the meal planning space because those rectangles are just juicy and wonderful. You might want to do reflections this week. I reached out to, I created, I completed. Also, just love this one that somebody posted within the last few days about when life starts to feel crummy, stop. And then these are things that this person's probably doing anyway, but to see it in writing is so powerful that triggers that brain like, yes, I do need to change what's going on. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to think positively. I'm going to open up to someone I'm close to, and I'm going to prioritize my meditation. So, really trying to embrace that way of staying positive. Look at all the different things that our Sonder family does in this space. So, again, a great way to utilize these spaces through word of the day, affirmations, quotes, maybe tracking your wins for the week. If you're feeling a little down on yourself, lean into really tracking what you did by writing that. Um, the one that's in the middle is kind of a journal prompt response section. It says inhale confidence, exhale doubt. I have seen in the last few weeks changing this up to be the meal plan for the soul. I love that idea. What are you doing for your soul? And reflections like that can be so empowering for you. The mind body health plan. This is probably the space that gets most changed up in my journal. Sometimes I lean into nutrition, sometimes exercise, sometimes it's all about, maybe movies or books that week. So I don't have anything consistent that I do in this space. I sort of take what I need here. But here's a lot of great ways to reframe this space or to embrace this space. The one up at the top is great. Unplug for 1 hour, and then the very specific things they're going to do to unplug for 1 hour. And I don't know if they're tracking that in their habit and activity tracker, but wow, it's right there. It's in writing. You're looking, going to see it every day. That great reminder of what your intentions are for that week. Let's keep going through these. Again, there's an exercise one at the upper left. tracking those daily affirmations, maybe some fun things you're going to do for yourself. I always love to throw the one that's on the bottom right in every now and then. I love that slide. Just get off my butt. So you open that page, you see it. It's that reminder, go move, go take a walk, go do a little yoga practice, something to make you move. Maybe you really lean into how you're going to fill your cup this week. What are you doing for yourself? I also like the one that's over on the right is about a different focus each day. So self-care, clean, digital detox. Um, Delete, go through old emails and messages. Man, I need to clean up my phone and not free up some memory. Again, there maybe you take a happiness challenge. There is a week of gratitude. That might be really great because instead of a gratitude tracker in our journal this month, we have the highlight of the day. So maybe you choose to embrace your gratitude practice here during the week. We love the alliteration days. So there's some fun examples of how to set up a day by day if you like doing those alliterations. I just think that's kind of fun. And I have a whole big graphic of some fun ways to frame out your Monday and your Tuesday and your Wednesday. Also, this week, here are our special days of the week. It's National Days of. Today is Johnny Appleseed Day and National Napping Day. So maybe we all need to eat an apple and take a nap. But those are some fun days this week if you want to include that somewhere in your journal. And then that shopping list, again, a lovely little grid space that can be repurposed into a number of things. Don't worry, I'm going to go back through all these slides while we work together. I had mentioned I'm doing that good morning and midday check-in on my weekly 3 major goals. If you notice there on the left, there's my good night routine. So that's over on that side of the page so that I'm, again, working on those rhythms and routines. There are a lot of blank spaces that weren't checked, but I'm getting better. So there is power in putting that in paper. Lots of folks love to put a bingo here. Again, when we can gamify something, it gives us those good hormones when we're able to check things off. So I suggest playing a little game with yourself during the week, just to get those good hormonal hits. And then again, some more ways of setting that shopping space up. Maybe you're tracking your spending or your daily steps go here. Your prayer list, your meal plan for the major meal of your day. And then finally, what are you loving right now? This very moment, today, this first new day of a week, write that in there. It's a nice way to reflect on just where you are at this time and space. So let me put on some music and I'm going to go back through all of these slides a little more slowly so you can take a look and grab a screenshot if something speaks to you. And then let us know, do you use this page just as it is, or are you repurposing any of these spaces because you will inspire fellow Silk and Sonder users with your ideas? I'll be back to check in with you in just a moment. Thank you all for sharing in the chat. These socials are recorded, and so you will be sent a link to that. But Maya's going to drop all of those in a minute. So there was a question about like, what is the meal plan for the soul? And it was basically kind of a reflection on a journal prompt a day, right? So you can take a look at that. Um, and then somebody said, how do you repurpose the water droplets? I've seen those color coded by what you're intaking during the day. So coffee, tea, lemonade, water. But I've also seen folks use them as like a rating system on a scale of 1 to 8, with something that maybe is in that meal tracker. So like I walked, how do I feel on a scale of 1 to 8? You track your steps, your exercise, and then you rate that. So that's a suggestion for that. I want to encourage you all to make an appointment with yourself later in this week. We'll be midway through the month of March. Check that currently page, fill that out, go back, look at your intentions, your habit tracker. How are things going? Give yourself permission to change that up, to maybe get some new habits if you're looking in that habit tracker and it's not getting marked off. That's again telling you something. So encourage you to go to that page. Also, there is an exclusive this week on Wednesday. If you are interested in learning a little bit about the Enneagram, maybe figuring out what number you are, and you want to know more about the deep digs into those different personality types, it will be with Beth Cooper and then our founder, Meha Aguilar. And there are our QR codes that are so important. And yes, poof, it goes fast, Jonna. Maya's dropping these links in our chat, but you will also receive a follow-up email with all of this information. And again, I thank you for your patience this morning as we were trying to kind of figure out what was going on with the Eventbrite link and that kind of stuff. And I held you over class just a smidge. Sorry about that. But you guys are going to make it a great week. I just know it. It's going to be a week filled with momentum, and we will see you next Monday. Thanks for joining us, Sonder fam. Maya and I loved starting our week with you.
The alarm clock ting-a-ling ringing in my head. I woke up dog-tired, beat down, half dead. Trying to recover from another wild weekend. Chugging down coffee while I should have been sleeping. Well, it sure is Monday, hitting it now. I gotta get myself through the week somehow. I had a ball Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But it's all over now, and it sure isn't Monday. Oh, I got to the job site at 9:15. Somehow I stayed awake till lunchtime. And then I caught a little nap stretched out in my truck bed. My feet still twitching to the music in my head. Well, it sure is Monday, ain't it the truth? I partied too hard and now I'm paying my dues. I had a ball Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.